Welcome to the fourth episode of our Marine Safety and Search and Rescue Exhibit Tours series. In our last episode, we explored some early examples of marine safety solutions from the 1800s. In this episode, we'll focus on some prospective technologies from the 1900s, which you may come to recognize as the primordial beginnings of technologies we still use to this very day. Enjoy! Both of these devices above me are early patterns of foghorn, and both entered circulation in the same year of 1910. The one to my right here is a Swedish Typhoon foghorn, and the one to my right is a Norwegian pattern rotary foghorn, though, bizarrely, as far as I can tell, it has little to no connection to Norway and was actually created in England. Here we have two types of early foghorn, each using a different method to produce their blaring noises. The Typhoon foghorn produces its sound using a pump which circulates air into a diaphragm, sending vibrations into and against the edges of its exhaust pipe. The cleaner the diaphragm, the more intense the sound produced will be, good for short but loud blasts of noise. The Norwegian pattern rotary foghorn functions using a similar principle, but a different execution. As the name suggests, this foghorn uses a rotary crank attached to an internal lever that, when rotated, compresses a diaphragm sac, pushing air into the horn. This process is repeated upon every rotation of the horn, allowing for a consistent and constant blast out of the horn. Next, we have the man overboard beacon, an early example of an emergency light buoy circulated in the 1920s. When tossed in the water, the buoy automatically rights itself, activating a mercury switch inside, which in turn turns on the light. The idea is to toss this beacon to a sailor who's gone overboard, making them easier to spot, especially in darkness or stormy weather. This next device is a fathometer, a device for measuring depth in, what else? Fathoms. A fathom is equal to 6 feet or roughly 1.8 meters. The fathometer is operated by passing a rope with a ball on the end over the side of a boat. As the ball sinks, it spins a dial on the fathometer which reads the distance to the operator. It's a very simple but useful device. Measuring depth has been an invaluable resource to sailors of all strides throughout history. The next example we have here is the Walker's Cherub Mark III ship log. It was produced in large quantities during the mid-20th century, beginning production in the 1930s and continuing right up until the 1990s. While the first ever devices created to catalog a ship's speed and distance were invented around the 1600s, the Cherub Mark III ship log is one of the first ever devices to be placed on board a ship rather than being attached to its rudder. The Cherub Mark III's ship log consisted of a recorder/indicator unit connected to a rotor by a rope line. The number of rotations per minute corresponded to the speed of the vessel in knots, or nautical miles per hour. In the case of the Cherub Mark III, 900 rotations per minute registered as 1 nautical mile per hour, whereas other ship logs may have had different calibrations. This concludes our little history lesson on marine safety solutions from the 1800s and 1900s. Tune into our final episode of the Marine Safety and Search and Rescue Tour, where we'll be exploring the techniques involved in marine navigation before the advent of radar and a little bit after. Till next time.